Being a Northwest guy is you're raised in a batting cage, you're raised in an indoor facility, you're taking ground balls off of, you know how to work in limited space.
Okay, I'm going to tell you right now, and I know I'm biased because I'm a Northwest guy, but I will take a Northwest guy over somebody from another area any day of the week because I just think they're tougher. I just think they're tougher guys.
I think that's one of the best things about baseball is it still is a way that you can really develop toughness and develop, loyalty and all those kinds of things that we want out of young men in particular.
Welcome to the Pacific Northwest Fungo Banter Podcast, where we highlight all of the great coaches of the Pacific Northwest. Now, here are your hosts, Eric Sorensen, Jason Jarrett, and Kelly Gow.
Hey, Pacific Northwest Fungo Banner fans. Welcome back to a new episode of your Pacific Northwest Fungo Banner Podcast. Eric Sorensen here, Jason Jarrett, and Kelly Gow going to join us on the call momentarily as we are a week away from high school baseball kicking off here in the Pacific Northwest, here in Washington State. And we're going to bring on a Washington State Coaches Hall of Famer and American Legion Coaches Hall of Famer for this week's episode, Rob Reese from Issaquah High School. Excited for you guys to listen to part one as we cover the high school side of things. He's also the head coach of summer baseball for the Lakeside Recovery American Legion team. They've been around for a very long time and do such a good job there. But we are, like I said, we're a week out, less than a week out. Hopefully by the time you guys listen to this, the weather's getting better. Maybe the wind quits for the west side here and the rain quits pouring because it's back. We're finally back to baseball season. I know everybody I've talked to is very excited. So we're excited for that. This episode's brought to you by, go check out Top Tier Sports, our new sponsor for the year. If you're looking for summer ball tournaments, go check them out. As always, by Safeguard, the Tri-Cities, some of the fun things you've seen us advertise. We'll have our website up and running soon. You can buy some Fungo Banner stuff. If you see things you like, message us. We can get the Venmo going and get things shipped out. Big thanks to Max BP as they are back for another year. Great hand-eye training tool. I can't wait to get that pitch machine going for our players this year. And then also back with us, Devo Bats. Go check them out. DevoBats.com. Great family-owned company for some great fungos and some regular old just bats if you need a wood bat. So go check them out. We are excited to bring you part one with Rob as we start to wrap up this season. We got a couple more guests to get this thing filled out. I think we got episodes to at least the end of March for you, but we're almost got them all recorded right now. So pretty excited about it. It's been such a fun season being in your guys' earbuds the entire way this winter. So let's go ahead and bring on Coach Rob Reese from Issaquah High School. All right, Fungo Banner fans, we are so fired up to be back with another guest, and we're bringing on a guy who, well known in the Pacific Northwest, a Washington State Baseball Coaches Association Hall of Famer, an American Legion Baseball Hall of Famer, Rob Reese from Issaquah High School. Thank you for taking time to come on the Fungo Banner tonight.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's awesome.
We're so excited to have you on. And right away, our hard-hitting question, what's your favorite fungo?
Well, if I'm going to be honest, it's SSK.
Yeah.
But I don't. Only time I get to hit fungos anymore is pitcher fundies or pitcher Ds because I have two infield coaches and they have absolute cow if I try to go out there and hit pregame or ground balls. So I get pitcher fundies and that's about it. So awesome. I usually just grab one of theirs and don't even bring mine out.
I like it. That's awesome.
But I'm the only one who can go up the chute on those young guys, so they don't have the tricks of the trade yet.
You got to show them how to do it every once in a while, don't you?
Exactly.
Yeah. Keep them honest. Well, talk us through your baseball journey from your playing days and what led you into your coaching days and your history with Issaquah and Lakeside Recovery, everything that's led to where you are now.
Yeah. I mean, I went to Interlake High School when Interlake High School was a powerhouse. We were pretty good. I played Legion ball, which is where my love of Legion baseball was when I played it. I went to Bellevue Community College and played for some great coaches, Coach Bob Albo and Ray Washburn. And after 2 years there, I went to UW, played 1 year, and then just finished out school for the next couple. too many years in school, but finally got that done.
The rest of us.
Yeah, exactly. Have too much fun. That's what these guys take all this running start and they want to get done early. I said, you don't want to work the rest of your life. You'll stay in college.
School.
But yeah, so that's kind of, then I got done coaching and playing in 88, 89 and became an assistant coach at Bellevue Community College. And from that, the coach of Bellevue Community College was the Lakeside coach. So I started assisting him for 2 years in the summer. And then I took over Lakeside in 90. And my first year being a head coach, I had Todd Hollinsworth on my team. So not bad. First year, get a future rookie of the year on your team. So pretty cool. And then 1994, I took over Issaquah High School and been there ever since.
No, that's great. Coach, you kind of been in the game for over 30 years.
Yeah.
You've been coaching a long time. What are some of those things of success that you've seen over the years at Issaquah and Lakeside, and with the aspect of the game changing so much and analytics, and player personality changes all the time. What are some of those things that really have been important to you, maybe to your staff, that kind of, you've held on to, and what's kind of helping, pretty much has helped your success all along the way?
Yeah, first thing with the technology, when I took over in 1994, there wasn't even email or cell phones. I had a pager, and the parents, if they had a gripe, had to page me, and then I'd hit them back a day or two later. But there was no instant access, there was no podcast, there was none of that. So obviously a lot of that stuff's changed. But a lot of stuff in baseball seems to change, and it comes back full circle. But we pretty much stick to. I got the same signs since 1994 is the funny thing, because I'll probably forget them. My JV coaches and stuff got all these adding and subtracting, and I've never done it. Just stick with the same signs. So, just being consistent. I work up at the school, and there's been 6 girls basketball coaches in the last 4 years for this senior class. And to watch something like that happen, and then to know we've been there 32 years with a lot of the same assistants coaches, the consistency and just being there for the guys and being successful helps. Being successful makes guys want to be a part of the program, and they can't wait to grow up. I got Carvalho. I coached his dad my first year at Issaquah High School. His dad was a freshman on my team.
Wow.
So, and I have another left-handed pitcher, Michael Gray. His dad played at Long Beach, or one of the schools. They went to a College World Series and went to BCC, and then school in California. I'm coaching his son too. So it's kind of a freak deal where you're coaching kids of players that he coached. It takes a lot for that to have happen. Coach has got to be there long enough for starters, and then they got to have boys, and they got to want to play baseball, and then got to live in the same school district. So it's kind of a cool deal, actually.
Talk to us about, one of the questions we asked, I guess by the time this one airs, it'll be a couple of weeks from the coaches clinic, but we all come in as a new coach, and we have it set. We're going to do it this way, and we're going to do these, we have our, what's going to happen. And that quickly changes. It seems like when whatever reasons, things don't work out, talk to us about maybe some of your transitions as a baseball coach from year 1 to say year 15 to now.
Well, if you ask the current guys on the team, none. But if you ask the guys from 1994, they say, I've gotten soft. Those 2 dads who played for me, whose kids are on my team now, just constantly just, you guys got it so easy type deal. But you obviously have to evolve as a coach, and you gotta, personalities, back in the day, I probably was a lot tougher, and there's not too many Bobby Knights around anymore, and that kind of stuff. And there used to be a lot more of that. And so your relationships and the biggest thing what we've done is we're honest with the kids. Sometimes the parents don't like to hear it, but they respect it after the fact. And after they graduate, they know that we weren't trying to blow air up their skirts or anything like that. We're being honest, and, whether you're good enough or not good enough to play. So that's probably the biggest thing, and the relationships with the kids now. And, it's the kids aren't as accountable as they used to be. There's a lot of excuses and a lot of post-COVID stuff that they get away with in school and stuff like that, we still hold them accountable in baseball, but sometimes, admin takes stuff out of your hands sometimes. But that'd be the biggest thing. The new technology and stuff's awesome, but we use some of it, and most of it comes from Tyler and Todd, my two sons, who bring the stuff they've had the last few years at Lower Columbia and St. Martin's and Concordia. They got all that hit tracks and all that stuff, but they like it, and the exit velo, and they got all that stuff and launch angles, and I just like the ball on the ground and steal second, but we that's kind of funny, but yeah.
No, one thing I think you hit the nail on the head, coach, is that consistency, right? I mean,
Mhm.
if you don't have consistency, you really don't have a foundation. And I think that's the key right there, is the point where you said it. And my next question for you is, what is that communication like? I know technology's played big and way key guys want to look at excuse me, to see things,
Yep.
but like what you're saying, when you started, you didn't have cell phones. You probably had
Right.
if anybody had a recorder, it was a VHS with
Yeah,
it weighed about a ton to put up on your shoulder, and you very
exactly.
few saw guys like that, right? But, so in that sense, coach, what is those conversations like when you're instructing?
Well, most of them are just one-on-one type or group stuff, in person. I don't answer emails or anything like that. I'll just call the people up, and I'd rather talk to them man to man, or parent to coach, or son. I don't I can put it in writing, I guess, would be another word. But yeah, we try to hash all that stuff out. But as far as coaching, I mean, it's just flat out being honest with them, and what you got to do to play, what you're not doing to play. Um, as long as you play hard, we're not going to have a problem, but if you dogging it or hot dogging it or all that kind of stuff, you're going to come out, and those lead to some interesting conversations. But for the most part, it's just one-on-one or as a group. We have talks before and after practice, and I'll pull guys aside, based on the previous games or what they're doing or being a terrible teammate and stuff like that, and we'll just handle it one-on-one. So, and then as far as
When you no, go ahead.
communications, we have a team, not a text thread, but it's called Group Me. We kind of run
Mhm.
everything through there, and coaches have feedback and talk about the game or put some videos up, stuff like that. That's probably the extent of the social media. We have a Twitter account that my sons run, so I get on and read it, but I don't type into it. But yeah, so that's kind of about it. We have a web page, schedule, stats, history, that kind of stuff. But as far as just communication with the players, just being open and honest and having a conversation.
The players want numbers, right? We talk about metrics. Like, metrics have always been a thing, batting average, all that. And yeah, there's advanced metrics now and more
Mhm.
ways to quantify things. But when you're having those conversations, and maybe the kids see that on some of their social media channels, when it's different ways to quantify baseball, even though the game hasn't changed, the distances, everything, the ball, it's all the same. you know, what are the things that you maybe quantify or have quantified in the past that you're using to help lead those conversations? Is it statistical based?
Yeah.
Is there any type of charting that you're doing, with guys? How are you finding that feedback loop and giving them some maybe hard numbers to kind of back up what you're
Sure.
saying?
I mean, statistics in a high school season can be misleading with 20 games and then the playoffs. I mean, you can
Mhm.
rope 4 balls and go 0 for 4. So, we have a quality at bat chart, stuff like that. We do chart every at bat, every pitch, all that kind of stuff, and go over there. But these guys want to see exit velo. It's like, shoot, I can tell you that ball was crushed. I don't need to know. I mean, it's just like when you hear 90, I don't need the gun. I just walking by into Bannerwood and some kid popped up. I went, whoa, that just sounds different. The way it hits the glove,
Mhm.
and but my kids want to have, the assistant coaches want the pocket radars and everything out there and want to know every single pitch, what it's doing. So there's our analytics, is keep hiring young guys who can, and then translate it to me pretty much. But yeah.
You don't even need it translated. It's just good or bad, right? Like,
Exactly. I mean, I could tell if guys are hitting. I mean, it's like, I'm hitting 500. Yeah, but you just own 1 inch over the second baseman's head, and the other guy's lining out to the left field wall every pitch. I mean, there's a difference. I mean, you guys know that. I mean, so
no, that's fun. I mean, because, and I think that the part that helps too, and we'll talk about this a little bit more, but the fact that you get to keep a lot of your guys in summer ball, that they don't, maybe have differing opinions that, maybe lead them away from the truth, right? And I think that happens a lot, and maybe you experience that a little bit with guys that maybe go off to potentially greener pastures or do some of the events and stuff like that. But I think the trust factor is so much more important than, what the information you're giving them, right? If you establish trust that I'm going to do what's best for you and you're going to do what's best for the team, then we're all going to work together great, right? And it doesn't matter what those numbers say at the end of the day. So I think it's super awesome that you guys are able to have those just real baseball conversations that aren't skewed by, something that's in someone's ear or something that they see, elsewhere. I'm sure they come to you with that stuff at some point in time. They said, "Hey, I did this or I do that," but you're able to lead that back to just a normal baseball conversation in general.
yeah, exactly. I mean, we have a lot of guys who play elsewhere, because we don't have enough room to keep everybody on our Legion team. But these guys come back with Mike Summerball, coach says I should be in the starting rotation. I said, got 3 D1 arms, and not going to happen unless you got way better, So they get fed a lot of BS, but it is what it is. I highly encourage those guys to go to outside instruction and all that up until the high school season starts. Go hit with Ray Atkinson or those guys. I mean, I'd love it. Then they come back, and all I ask is have an answer when I ask you why you're doing something. Just not just because Ray says so. I mean, why are you doing it that way? I mean, give us an answer and let us know why you're trying to do that, and we can have those conversations. Otherwise, you're going to do it our way. So.
No, I think it's important that you have those dialogue, because I think a lot of kids don't really know why they do certain things. They just do it because somebody said something. And so we had a kid about 4 or 5 years ago, I said, Fabian, why you do this massive Frank Thomas front leg kick, when you're batting? He's like, well, that's my uncle. My uncle played, varsity baseball at some local community, some school here in town. And he's like, that's just what he told me, always do it. And I'm like, you know why you do it? Not really, So
that's exactly.
I think we miss that mark as coaches. I mean, we only have so much time, but I think we just like, you just let it, he's doing his thing, just let him do it, But
we're so hamstrung by the time constraints, off-season coaching and stuff. So if I can get a guy to Ray Atkinson or Kurt Nelson or those guys, why wouldn't I want them to get better? We can't do anything except sit in the bleachers and open the field and let them hit. So I mean, that's about it. So we highly encourage it, but I'm a big proponent in those guys being self-teachers and knowing what they're doing and enough reps where they know what they're doing wrong. Because, it's like I try to tell them, we're not going to be in the batter's box. Your hitting instructor's not in the batter's box for you. Tell you what to do. I mean, you gotta be able to self-coach, and you gotta be able to adjust, and there's a lot more to it than, I look good in the cages, if I go in there for a couple of days and all of a sudden, curveballs and sliders, then it's a whole different story. I mean, it's like lights out.
So I guess
it's so important. Like I see so many, like I do some hitting stuff now with guys, and they take one bad swing and they look over their shoulder for help. Right. Or they're on the tee and they hit 10 balls in a row low on the side net and the pull side. It's like, I can't help you. Like you have to, I think the biggest thing that, and you said it just so perfect, like they have to know what the best versions of themselves are. And I
Correct.
think we're a part of this process, right? You have a chance to be 4 years of their process, right? If they
Mhm.
start playing at, 9U,
Yeah.
right? There's a bunch of other years plus their college years. You're just and we're all just a piece in that road to help mold them, right? And we're not going to
Exactly.
solve them or make them perfect. But as a player, like you have to take ownership in your abilities, what you can do, what you can't do, and find ways to make what you have the best it can be, right? And I love that of you to you know to make sure that they're self-conscious of how they're feeling. But
Yeah. I mean, what are we doing?
is
I
that a
ask
lot of your kind of go ahead?
a lot of my conversations are like, what were we doing right there? What were we thinking?
Mhm.
And, you know, situational hitting. I got guys who come from some summer teams but don't situational hit, and they just, launch angle and try to hit everything out. And I don't hit the ball to that side of the field, and they, you don't play here then. So, you know, that's not going to work. But
Yeah.
we're going to move guys over. We're going to get them in. We're going to do all that. But go deep. I don't care. Go deep when you're moving them over. Go to Oppo. At least show me you're trying to do what we're asking you to do. So, but there's a
you
lot of
could-
great hitting instructors and pitching instructors, and I mean, there's so much specialization going on right now that these guys can. We get them for 6 months basically with summer in high school, and then there's 6 months out of the year they go to other people, which is a good thing, I think.
Mhm.
So I'm taking this back or towards the team aspect of things because
Uh-huh.
I'm with you because there's no secret. I'm a farmer in the summer. I can't run a summer program, so all my guys go and play, and I'm so grateful for all the people that they're able to play for. But when they come back to you this year, I mean it's March 3rd, I believe, this year, right?
Mhm.
You know what? Maybe you're obviously in a different spot than like Jason and I because we have 15 guys. We're like, let's go. But you might have a different fear factor of getting guys to buy into the overall team aspect of things. But if you do come across someone that might have resistance, well, I'm doing it this way in the summer. I mean, how do you handle that, and how do you really build that team aspect to make sure everybody's on the same page as to what you're doing?
We preach team from the minute they step in the program. I mean, the first day of tryouts, I mean, that's part of our evaluation for making the team is being good teammates and buying in. And, the guy I was saying doesn't hit the ball the other way didn't play. I mean, I played him a couple games and he refused to do it and just sit the bench. I mean, and then he comes around and hits like 2 doubles in the right center gap. And whoa, it's like, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. But yeah, I mean, playing time's obviously one of the greatest learning experiences. If you want to get in, you got to change and you got to adjust and you got to be a good teammate. And the culture we've built at Issaquah over all these years, there's a lot of self-policing by our older guys, and they're great to the younger guys. They don't, get after them or anything like that, but they lead by example and show them what the team aspect does. And it's how you win a state title by everyone buying in. And I show them every year one of our state championships. The first guy to hop the fence at T-Mobile, guy had like 2 at bats all year, and he's the most excited of anybody on top of the pig pile. So that's what it's about. And I preach to him, 10 years from now, no one's going to remember how great you were unless you're All Root or Todd Hollinsworth or one of those guys. Everyone's just going to remember you're a great teammate or not.
Mhm. The other thing too, those guys, I always tell our guys, remember that team is in the record books, right? Nobody can take that away from you. So whatever is written in the book of WIA, I mean, you're there forever.
Exactly.
You're that guy that just had 2 at bats all season, but you helped your team win a state championship or multiple. That's a huge thing. I mean, not a lot of kids get the opportunity to win state championships or even get there. Some guys will just go 4 years and that's it. And they may have great careers, but yeah.
And I had a 1999. I had a DH, never hit a home run all year, and he hit 6 in regionals, 6 straight homers in a doubleheader. Yeah, there's buying in and never knowing when you're going to be the star or not. I mean, just hitting in the 7 hole, hit 6 straight homers at Wheeler Field is just unbelievable.
Wow,
that's exciting.
So you never know who is
good
going to be.
coaching.
That's kind of what we try to say. Our better teams have been not solely dependent on. 2003, we should have won a state title, and West Valley walked Colin Curtis every single at bat. We lost 1-0. It couldn't. They had a stud pitcher who went to UW, and they just put him on no matter what, and he was our guy. And then the next year we won it with like 6 guys instead of just one guy, so you just never know. But you got to buy in. The whole team's got to buy in. Just one bad apple. You guys know that. I mean, there's one guy can tear it down or distract other guys, or that's why you need good leadership from your better players, obviously, who can handle that and take care of it.
Yeah.
What's your communication like with those guys? Like, do you have a leadership group?
Yeah, we
you
have
lead.
We have two captains we pick every year, and then we meet, and then they run like open fields in the fall and started up about 2 weeks ago. They run practices out there, and not that we can't say anything to any of them, but we just open the field and sit in the press box and watch. But that's about all we can do is supervise. But yeah, those guys run the show. I mean, when they're out there now and they do a great job. I mean, some guys are better at it than others. Some guys don't like to talk a lot, but some guys just play hard and lead by example. But you do need a vocal leader at some point to square these guys up every now and then.
What kind of conversations do you have as a first year coach? I think about a lot about that first or second year coach coming into a new program. You're trying to establish that foundation, right? Like you've been talking.
My first year, they had like 5 coaches the year before. They just went through them, and they had great players and at Issaquah, but coaching stability was bad, and they went through some, and then I got it, and then I just had to change the whole culture. The previous coaches didn't collect any. I had no gear, 0 gear. I had 1 red shin guard, and we're purple and gold, so I don't even know where that came from. So that was left in the basket because the previous coaches didn't collect anything, and so I had to go in there, and that's probably where my reputation of being kind of a hard ass. But we had to change the culture, and players are running the show, and we're doing it this way, and we were good right off the bat. I had 2 pitchers named, I don't know, you guys know Woody Heath or Lindsey Galeen. I mean, they were unbelievable, and we made the Final Four, I think, the first year, and we just kind of have rolled since. And success obviously helps a lot, getting guys to listen a little more, and parents, and then now 32 years later, there's you got a little equity built up with some of these parents and stuff like that. Now it's like they can't wait to play for Issaquah, which is kind of cool. I mean, my son was like that, and he can't wait to coach now, and he's pretty stoked about. We had a work party, and he got up at like 5 a.m. Drove up from Lacey, and it's like, doesn't start till 9. What are you doing here? It's like he's ready to roll. Because he doesn't get to play anymore because he got hurt playing for Kelly, and so now he's venturing into coaching, and he started a little bit in the summer, but now he's into the high school stuff. So hopefully we can turn it over to him in a couple of years. But
yeah, that's the toughest part. I mean, that was tough on him. And, I think as a coach, we all have a unique story that brought us to where we are, right? And I think the ones that have it easy don't last very long. The ones that have dealt with some struggle and no perseverance and, can level with players during their ups and downs and all that are the ones that last. So that's awesome. But, what's that difference been? I know you mentioned Todd playing at Newport a little bit off air, but you had him in the summertime. But, what's the difference now having coached your kids to now having them as coaches? Do you find yourself harder on them now than
way
than
harder
before,
as a coach. Way harder as a coach. I mean, there'd be nights where my wife wouldn't even talk to me after getting after these guys a little bit, missing a squeeze bunt and don't play for 2 weeks. I mean, we've been there, we've done that, and I was way too hard on them, but I didn't want to be accused of favoritism. So I made them earn it probably more than they deserved. And as a coach, they understand it now. They might not have understood it all then, but now that they're both coaching and I see them get after guys, like, well, hey, thought I only, it's not just, I didn't just get on you guys, but they were both great players, and they love Issaquah and Lakeside so much. I mean, that's probably one of my proudest moments, having those guys with me now and being a part of it. And beating Pepsi Pack and seeing my Tyler just be excited, man. And that's a big rivalry for us in the summer, and getting those guys and, get a little exuberant, a little too excited. So Tyler's still young, but yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, it's way more relaxing coaching with them than coaching them. Yeah, way more.
Yeah, I know those are one of those things, like, I coach my daughter's AAU basketball team, and my son's gotten to get up in age where I'm start coaching him. And I always say, if you're going to play for your dad, you got to be the best player out there.
Exactly.
I mean, really, I get, it just kills me when you get those dads, and there's the difference, right? There's the parent coach, and then there's the coach parent,
Exactly.
and sometimes parents have a hard time separating the two. And I tell my kids that, listen, I am the coach and then the parent. I'm not the parent out on the field or the court and then, the coach after, so it's just a real fine line. You always got to draw that line. It's hard. It's tough.
It is hard. It's very hard.
You talk about moments. I mean, I had a moment here this last year. We were playing in a basketball tournament. We get into the car, and my daughter played poorly, and I only played her 2 minutes in that whole game. And she sat in the car and cried. And I'm like, why are you crying? And she's like, well, you didn't play me. I said, you played horrible. Like, I'm not putting you out there. There's other girls that were doing better. So it's just like, you're going to ride the bench. And so we had a good conversation about it and a good understanding. But I know those feelings, Rob.
You do. Then the mom who's a coach too gets, a little more emotional on the baseball side of it. Than, so she's mad, and then the whole thing. So then it was But as a coach, no. I mean, occasionally they get some wild hair and come up with some idea that's like, what are we doing? It's our first practice. We don't need to be doing some of this stuff yet. But yeah. They remember mid-season, infield, outfield, and going to play with one ball. I said, we're not. The first guy's going to throw it away over 10 feet over the guy's head, and sure enough, that's what happened. And so they get, but it's awesome.
Never thought of
That's
the
cool.
parent coach conversation that could affect your dinner that night if you were going to get served.
It does. Trust me. Yeah,
I'll have to remember that.
My wife's a coach though too, so that helps.
Yeah.
But she's a mom first, and so that happens, and I get it. I always feel bad later, but heat of the moment and competition, and you expect so much out of those two because they've been around you their whole life, so you want them to do good.
Yeah, we're always looking for good reality TV. That would definitely make a sure good reality TV.
Yeah, well, Todd was a good player, and he was the Kinko Player of the Year, and we were playing Newport. He was on Newport, and umpire called him safe, even though we tagged him. So we appealed it. And they called him out, and my mom was alive at the time, and she was sitting on our side. She packed up her chair and moved to Newport side. And she wouldn't even talk to me for like a week because the umpire reversed the call and got Todd out. So she was all fired up. But yeah, those are some good stories. Yeah.
Oh man,
it's kind of funny.
Oh man.
Now entering from the bullpen,
Well, that concludes part one with Issaquah High School head coach Rob Reese. Pretty excited about that one. Hopefully you guys enjoyed as well. If you did, let us know on our socials. Please go rate and review the podcast. We truly appreciate you guys doing that. That just helps grow things for us, one listener at a time. Please wait. Actually, next week, what we'll do, we're kicking off high school baseball on Monday, March 3rd. So here's what we're going to do. For part two, as high school baseball in Washington State kicks off on March 3rd, on Monday, we're going to release part two on Monday for everybody to get things even more excited heading to practice. Not that you need that. I know that we all are fired up for the season ahead of us and hopefully for a long trek on our way to some late games in May. But thank you again to Coach. Thank you to Safeguard. Thank you to Top Tier Sports. Thank you to Max BP. And if it's getting cold out there, go check out the Frost Gear. They also own Frost Gear. If you're in Portland, they have a Portland sidewalk sale coming up this weekend too. So go check them out. Get those batting gloves and the sweatshirts, keep you warm. And then also Devo Bats. Go check them out. Thanks to those guys. And like I said, stay tuned for part two next week. We'll dive into summer baseball, Legion ball, and all of it. This is a great discussion of everything. And we can't wait to be back next week. enjoy your planning this week as you prepare for high school season kicking off, guys. Take care, everybody, and we'll be back.